Hi, everyone. We are here to talk about 3 things to do to get the most out of your coaching experience. And I am Dr. Alyssa Adams. I'm the Director of Executive Coaching with Team Performance Institute, and I am joined by the wonderful Treva Hall. Treva, share with us a little bit about who you are.
Thank you for having me. This is such a great opportunity. And I am Treva Hall, and I'm an executive performance coach for Team Performance Institute.
Great. So before we dive in today to talk more about what to do to get the most out of coaching, let's talk about what coaching is, first of all. So at Team Performance Institute, executive coaching is our number one offering. And it really, we feel it's our highest leverage offering where people get the most change, the most meaning, the most growth out of that experience. And it's an individual one-on-one coaching experience that's highly customized and curated to exactly what you need. And it's built on a model of thought partnership with your coach. And they're there to share a neutral, objective, outside of the organization, kind of third party perspective to help you develop as a leader and as a person in whatever it is that you're bringing to the table. So that's kind of the frame that we'll use when we're talking about coaching and how to get the most out of coaching today. So with that being said, Treva, kick us off with number one thing to do to get the most out of your coaching experience.
Well, Alyssa, I can come up with many things, but to focus on 3, the first would be to build a connection with your coach. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by building a connection with your coach is building a trusted space and a safe space for the client and coach. And what I like to do, all coaches have their own process, but my process is I start my first coaching session with my clients, and I take the time to really get to know them, not only professionally, but also personally. I'll start with myself and I'll tell them a little bit about my life, details of my life. And then I want to know a lot about them, learn about whatever they want to share. They can share as little or as much as they want with me. And this starts to build a connection between the two of us. And it also starts to build that trusted and safe space for them. And I encourage clients to go in very neutral and curious, which are my 2 favorite words, because it takes judgment out of everything. So the connection.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, and the connection is so important for the success of the work together. And to take time to really cultivate that is important, and creating space where people feel open and sharing all kinds of different aspects of themselves, and just being really, a place where you can hold, kind of hearing all the different assets and or facets, of the person, all the different elements of them. So I love that you really build that in. That's so important. And we know too from the literature in psychology and on in the therapy space that the relationship is really the biggest predictor of success. So we want to make sure that we've got it right. We want to make sure that there's a click between the coach and the client. And we take a lot of care and effort at TPI to make sure that people are paired well and that click, that rapport is there and then just fostered throughout the rest of the coaching experience.
Absolutely. And also the space we coach in is confidential. And that's really important to know as well, that whatever they share with us, it goes nowhere. It's between coach and client. And that also builds that connection, the trust, and that safe space for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And so let's shift into number 2. So what's number 2 on your list?
Being honest with yourself, full transparency. Oftentimes we look outward. I encourage my clients to look inward. Ask yourself open-ended questions, questions to self. Take time to ask yourself, what are my belief systems? What am I doing right? Or what's going right for me? What's not going right for me? What's my role in this? Open-ended questions are very important. And if we're not honest with ourselves, it limits our growth. And it's difficult to move forward when we're not honest with ourselves. So staying in that mindset of neutral and curious, which again are my 2 favorite words, takes judgment out of it. You're just gathering information about yourself so that you can grow. That's basically being honest with ourselves and transparency.
I love that. And, sometimes we think we're being honest with ourselves, but maybe there's like a deeper layer there. So we as coaches often talk about, how do we help our clients get really honest with themselves? How do we help them, look at things through the lens of, why am I really doing that? Or why am I really saying that? Or what's true for me in this situation? Because then that really gives us kind of grist for the mill, so to speak, so that we can really work on what's truly going on and what's really there. So we will continually probably invite you to be more and more honest with yourself as you engage in the coaching process. So Treva, anything else you want to share on being more honest with yourself?
I do. If we're not honest with ourselves, we're not our authentic self. So who are we coaching, right? And there's so much self-discovery in coaching. Things like you said that we weren't sure, that we didn't even know about ourselves. And that's what's great about having a coach. The coach is there to ask you those powerful questions, to see things that you don't, to hear things. A lot of it's intuitive. Even so, yes, being honest with ourselves is a key ingredient to growth in leadership, in all areas of our life.
Yeah. And I would just add to and extend that being open to the process of becoming more honest with yourself through the vehicle of coaching is important too, because we don't expect you to come in knowing all your motivations behind what you're doing and why you're choosing any response in any given time, right? That's part of what we uncover during the coaching process, and we help facilitate and guide you through that. And we hope and request that you'll come in with a level of openness and honesty with yourself and us, so that there's it kind of creates the runway for deeper, more meaningful growth.
Absolutely. I describe coaching as being on a river. You think you're going one direction, and then you go around the bend and there's something else there, and you're like, oh, I thought I was over that, or I didn't realize I do that, or there's so much opportunity here for me around this bend. So coaches offer this great perspective that maybe the client doesn't see. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, coaching as an experience can be confronting. And what I mean by that is that sometimes we're reflecting blind spots or inviting you to look at different aspects of yourself that maybe you haven't looked at deeply before, or motivations behind certain ways of being, or just more exploration and awareness. And that can take a lot of awareness and grounding to be able to take that in, right? To be able to say, oh man, that is a blind spot of mine. I remember not long ago, I was working with a coach, and she presented to me that I was being very judgy around myself, and I thought that was something I had kind of worked on a bit, right? But she was very much right. She was noticing my language and pointing out to me that I was saying I should and I shouldn't, and all of these really evaluative phrases that it was good to have someone highlight to me, because we just get so kind of steeped in our own way of speaking to ourselves or our own way of thinking that it's nice to have somebody point this out if you're open to it, and really shift the way that we interact with ourselves, or our awareness about how we're thinking.
Well, and awareness is key to change.
Yeah.
So bringing that awareness to us is very powerful.
Absolutely. So Treva, share with us the third thing to do to get the most out of your coaching experience.
It's very important to be prepared and focused.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? Creating a space where there's no distraction. If you're, the person that has a million things on your desk and they're distracting to you, or you want to reach for different things, clear your desk. Really, this is such a great opportunity for self-growth, again, both personally and professionally. One thing I love to tell and remind my clients of is that they are important too. This is a space and a time devoted just to you. I mean, how often do we have an hour to spend on just ourselves with a professional to help us along the way? So yeah, creating that sacred space for yourself. Have a notebook that's devoted just for coaching, so you can reflect back on what you're learning and take notes. That's important, and being prepared. The most important thing to me is taking the action. Taking an action on your learnings, the self-discovery, the homework, the challenges you might be given, all the information that you're gathering, take action on it. Don't just keep it in the coaching session. Use it and apply it.
Yep, absolutely. Oh, that's so important, Treva. I mean, because we see you for an hour every 2 weeks, right? There's a lot of life and things that happen in between that space. So experiment.
Yes.
Being in a place of action with what you're talking about during session.
Absolutely. So important. That's what I love about TPI. We coach the whole person. It's a holistic approach. So leadership in all areas of your life, whatever that is. And all of these three things, I mean, we can prepare, and we can have the connection, and we can be honest with ourselves. The action is the important piece. But TPI is the whole person. All these things fall into that, into becoming the best version of ourselves in all areas, wherever we can be. And that's what I love about working for Team Performance Institute.
That's great, Treva. What a lovely summary. That's great. And if you're listening to this and you've had coaching or are interested in coaching, what are some of the things that you think are the most important to get the most out of the experience? So share that with us. You can write that in the comments, whatever feels most comfortable to you. And if you're interested in learning more about executive coaching with TPI, please head over to our website, teamperformanceinstitute.com. And there's instructions there for how to get in touch with us and see if you want to start your executive coaching journey. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Treva, for being here and sharing your thoughts.
Thank you, Alyssa. This was great.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you again.